Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy MXN back once again, and we're here doing another live beat breakdown. So today, guys, I just wanted to go over some stuff. First things first, let's do the voting. It was pretty close this week in terms of like the number of votes that decided it, but it was still pretty clear that you guys wanted to hear this one, the soulful organ beat from it's like a Mac Miller type beat. So like I said, every week we do the voting right at like early morning on Pacific time, and then like sometimes it's 9 o'clock, sometimes it's 6 o'clock. It just depends when uh the last week or yesterday's beat is done for the story. Then we put all three of the beats up there on my Instagram story, and the votes only count on my Instagram story. So if you're trying to vote on my YouTube page, make sure you're going to my Instagram story to send in your vote. Otherwise, I'm not gonna count it because there's totals on there. That's just the way that it is. Just want to verify that you guys understand that. Um, but yeah, this week there's a couple of things I want to talk about. Um, like basically like how do you do certain things in FL Studio to like kind of like make the sample the way you want it. If there's like some kind of sound you're working with that you want to like maybe like use, but like in a slightly different way. Like you like the notes that are being played, but you don't really like the the overall sound of the sample. Like it's like, okay, I like all these notes, but sometimes the notes are wrong, or like sometimes the notes are just not clicking with the instrument that you have. I'm going to show you how to like kind of get into all of that. So without further ado, I'm going to play the beat for you guys just in case you forgot what it sounded like. So it's like really chill. That's what I'll say. It's definitely like one of the more chill kind of beats I've made in a while. So like with the organ, I used Omnisphere. Believe this is one of my presets from the new pack. So you guys can kind of like use that. This should be just the soulful organ from my second Omnisphere pack. That's down below already in the description. You can get that right now. If you like any of these sounds, it's a pretty cool sound. So it's got some cool vibes to it, you know. It's a Hammond organ. Basically, it's like what the basis of it is. It's got some tremolo, some cool stuff on it. Then the other part of this is just like a sound sample from like a one shot from like one of the packs that I've bought in the past. Let me see if I can tell you where I got this one from. So this is from Square One Music Library, and this is from a TrackLab. So if you have a TrackLab account, go ahead and go in there, and then you can rip one of these packs. I mean, like not rip, but like you can buy this one. It's the Square One Music Library, Delilah and Iris. Um, it's a basically just like a bunch of like vocal one shots, different cool stuff in there. I got it because I liked a lot of the one shots that aren't in here for the vocals, but it's a cool pack. Um, and then there's like the drums that are here. But the bulk of like I mean like these all just come from different packs. I think these are mostly from the same kind of pack. Like just they're all from For the Love of Drums, like it's or some kind of like pack that I got, I believe on yeah, these are all packs that I got from Tracklet to a certain extent. Um so I wanted to like kind of break down this though. The main thing that I'll kind of talk about today is this MIDI pattern that I have here. So right? So it's like that pattern. And so what I did here is I actually got this from a different sample. So this is basically the main secret sauce of this video. So it's just a typical basic piano sound. I didn't really love the sound of the piano. It kind of sounded uh too close together, too like I don't know, too plucky for what I was like wanting to have. Because like what I envisioned this sound, I was like messing around with the loops that were in it. Because there's like a lot of like cool loops in this sample pack I have here. It's just like New York keys. Like some of the samples are like really really cool in terms of like, oh, I like the way that this sounds. I like how this is. But I'm just not. I was just like I liked the overall like notes of it, but I just wasn't really like digging the vibe of like it's like okay, this is a cool piano and all, but it's not really cutting it for me. Um, in this pack. So what I did is you can do this in a number of ways, and I will show you every which way that I know how. So the first way, and this is like you can kind of do this with where is it? Here. You can I think it's just in. You could do this like this. Now, if it's a singular melody and not just chords, this works. You can just go to detect pitch regions and you can like kind of see where each of the notes are like this. And this is usually what I do for tuning when I'm like dealing with a bass or like a different sample. Let's see. And there was this other way. I'm trying to remember this other way, but while I'm thinking about it, I'll bring this over here to you guys. So this is the other thing you can kind of like use. So you can convert any audio into MIDI. So like you can consolidate the track, right? So here, I'll bring this away. This is just called Sample Lab. But so basically I'll grab this sample, I'll drag it in. I know you couldn't see all of that, but like I dragged it in here, and then it's harmonic and percussive, and then like you just grab your section. Now for free, you only get the 10 seconds, so like you can chop it in halves and kind of like go from there. But you convert to MIDI, and once it's done, you'll see it's like not quite exactly the same, but it's pretty close, right? And for some of them, it doesn't get all the notes right, so you'll have to correct it a little bit, but it'll detect the BPM, gives you the harmonic, or you can choose percussive if you're like wanting to like just get the drum pattern down. Um, but I'll say this too, that like I mean, it's pretty handy when you're like trying to chop up a sample and trying to get like, okay, I like these chords like a lot. And you can get the MIDI files for it. And that's the second half of it, right? So like you can just do that, and then you can convert to MIDI and you download it, and then you can drag it in. You can drag any MIDI pattern in to FL Studio just on here, and it'll give you all of the like um the velocity, everything like that. So it'll play it just like it is, and then you can just pick any instrument you want. So it's like I picked my organ because I felt like that to me was just the coolest vibes that I was gonna get out of it. Um, but yeah, like you can choose any sample that you want. You can choose any like kind of sound. I was like, well, I want to make this like, oh, I like didn't like this note of it, or I didn't like this piece of it. I didn't like how I went this way, but I like the general base of it. That's a good way to kind of like use sample app to like get it to like fine tune the sounds that you're already using more or less. And like for me, that was already a royalty-free sample. Make sure you're like getting the right proper clearance. Don't just steal samples left and right, guys. That's not what I'm condoning here at all. Just make sure you're getting the things that you need to get right, and then well, that's how you gotta, kind of how you gotta do it. So you just get the sample you want, take it to sample lab, drag it in, and then convert the audio. Pull it back up actually. I got rid of it too quickly. Um, so like I said, just to give a quick recap on it, you would just drag your sample in from here. Where is it? The New York one. Go into here and go into here, and you just drag it in like that, convert to MIDI, and then you can edit this later after you download the MIDI. And then there you go. You already have it in your downloads here, and you can just drag it in to your FL project. Or just hit it on your instrument. But, so let's see here. Go. Just put it into a different channel. So it just makes a completely different, like, audio network here, channel rack. Just for this one, and it'll click all the MIDI in here, and so you see it's got all the different instrumentation on it. You can edit the velocity, you can kind of go in and do all the different fun things that you want to do. Yeah, so that's that. Let's just go back to a full reset here. Last reset. Okay.
Mixing it up.
That didn't sound quite right. Oh, I see. After dragging it in. I think I messed up the tempo here, guys. So hold on, let me fix that. I think it was 86, 87. Here, I'll just reload the project here. Just because it messed up the time. I don't want to mess with it all right now. But yeah, so the MIDI will import the time frame. It will import all the stuff that like the base of the sample is. So if you want to edit it, you gotta like make sure you're making those changes. I had this already in 96. So yeah. Keeping all of this in mind, it's like I said, it's like an easy way to just kind of like change a sample if you wanted to. With a consolidated track, I'm trying to remember how to do this exactly. I think there's like a way where I can, after it's consolidated, da, da, da. Maybe it was pitch correct. And you copy to MIDI. And then you get the notes in here. But I don't think that's like really the best way to do it because it's only if it's like really like monotone. But yeah, I can't remember the last way here. Let me see if I can find the thing that I saw. Or just like remember it real quick. Because I don't, truth be told, I don't really like that way. With sampling it because it like you have to convert it to mono really before you can do it. But I'll add a clip in there. If I find it later, if I'll you want to know a different way to do it, just message me and I'll get it to you. But basically, the main thing that I like doing is just doing it through Sample Lab because then it like I don't know, it gives it MIDI to you in the easiest way possible, so you don't have to like really mess with it too much. Um, and it's completely free, so that's kind of nice. Um, then there's also this other sample that I used. It's a one shot. And what makes that like kind of unique, right? Is without any effects on it. I stretched it to make sure it was right here because I know that the timing was slightly off. Then I put little alter. So you can kind of like edit different effects on it if you want to do it that way. But I like this one the best with the little alterable effects on it. So just putting a little formant on it. Just -2. So like not like a whole lot. Didn't really mess with the sample a whole lot, but it did give it that nice like unique kind of like sound to it. So you can do this with vocals too. A lot of times people will put formant on their vocals as like a background thing, and I've done that in my song "Love Is Always Hard" or "Love Is Hard." Um, it's just a cool thing you can do. It's a cool effect. It just transposes the voice without like messing with the time or like editing the pitch too crazy. So I like just solo it again. Or you can pitch it up. So it's a cool effect, right? Little alterable. You can get this via Sound Toys. It's not that expensive of a one, but it is a really, really cool and effective effect. Um, Now I'll go into the drums. Yeah, so the main thing here when like you're making a boom bap, Mac Miller kind of vibe, and the main reason I kind of get into the logic of this too. The main reason I thought this was a Mac Miller beat is just because of the dope chill vibes, like the rainy day kind of vibes, mixed with the boom bap, and I felt like that's what really like kind of defines it as that, and like this groovy kind of organ that it is. I feel like it just kind of gives off the good vibes that like Mac would like be down with. Um, and Yeah. So I'll go right into each drum. So here's the hi-hats. And then we have our like basically our bouncy velocity that I like to do like generally week from week. This is like the main thing I like to do with my velocity with my hi-hats just to keep the bounce like just bumping, and keeping it cool and groovy like that. And then it just like when you edit the velocity, it adds like a nice little bounce. Then you got the kicks. So the main thing that's different from this kick compared to my other kicks, when I was trying to put like an accent on like one of the kicks, I wanted to like lower the velocity so it wasn't so like dramatic of a hit, and so it could give it a little bit more bounce to it. So like I said before when I was talking about the hi-hats, editing the velocity of something can really make the track bounce, like make it really like different and unique. Um, then there's the snare. Open hat. Different perks in here. I think this might just be another hi-hat. Yep. Well, together they make a nice like cohesive hi-hat sound. So it's not like too complicated with everything with that. It's just the same bounce to it, and it's the same bounce here. and it's just really the same thing, but it's just two different samples, right? So this one is more of like a clock tick kind of sound, and the other one is more of a traditional hi-hat, like a traditional boom bap hi-hat. Um, and then some of the perks that I've added here is this wah-wah sound. I really like this sound. I really liked using this sound because I just felt like, okay, it needs one more sound in it just to like really make it go. And that's that was the one I decided. I felt like that added like a bigger punch to it than like a cymbal would have or a crash. Um, so yeah, and then obviously the open hats on the beat. So all together, oh wait, the bass, right? Because I had the MIDI, it was pretty easy to just play off the bass notes. So together with this. Just kind of plays off of it. So it just sounds good. It's like keeping in the bass level of that usually what makes it sound the best. I'll play the beat out one more time here. So yeah, this beat's really got a nice groove to it. I'll go into the song structure of this because it's a boom bap beat and it's in the 80 to like 100 range. So like everything's like double time with everything. Uh, it means I've got an 8-bar intro, which if the time was doubled, it would be 16 bars, you know. So it's hitting the notes in that kind of time. So I've got eight 8-bar hook, 16-bar verse, 8-bar hook, and then basically just a little bit of an outro here. Um, and I tried to use the vocal samples sparingly so that like that's the main thing. Like taking my sounds out, I didn't really like do a lot of transition because I wanted to keep the same groove going throughout the whole track. So the hi-hats and the snares are there pretty much the entire time, except for the last little phrase, just to accent whatever the artist is gonna say on this beat. And then really taking out the bass left a lot of room for like the artist to kind of do their thing without everything getting too old. I felt like, and then bringing back the phrase only like a couple of times throughout the verse, I felt like made people not get sick of it. Because sometimes you have a sound in there, it's like, oh, this is so cool, I gotta have it in there. But if you have it in there all the time, it might get old. I felt like that was like one of those get old. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what the song structure is for this. Mixing wise, a lot of like I think it was just a lot of EQ for the sounds that weren't already pre-mixed. Yeah, because it was just the master, and then this I just did a little EQing on this to accent the certain parts of my organ that I wanted to like really just accentuate. And I just had the little altar boy on the vocal chop and the one hi-hat to the left and the other one was already hitting it at the right, I think. So yeah, it was already hitting to the right a little bit, so I just put this one a little to the left just so that we could have a nice balance in our ear. Um, and then just leveling things out and hitting it to the master. The bass, typical, just hiring the bass end here and lowering the high end, and then just slapping my favorite compressor on it, the CLA2A, when I'm mixing with bass. Put a little analog in there to give it a little more dust, a little bit more grime to make it sound like how it typically would sound. Um, But yeah, guys, that is pretty much what I had for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and yeah, peace and God bless, guys. That's all I got. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys. Peace.